Good evening. How's everybody today? You all made it here. It was warm out, but you're not melting in the seats, which is good. First off, welcome. It's great to see you all, which I can barely see. Full house today. Very nice. My name's Andrew Tarosian. I am the strings director here in the District of Pentucket. I work with 4th grade, who you have behind me, all the way up through our high school group with 12th grade. Very pleased to announce that this show, if you've checked out your program, if you were able to grab one before you came in, our show, the theme of this year's show is the magic of music and stories. Now, in my life, stories have played a big part. I do as much reading as I can to learn things, and no matter what it is, whether it's about stuff that we do here, whether it's hobbies I have at home. And I said, how can I bring this into what we do, on a daily basis? And I asked the same questions, and you're going to get to see this in a minute. The same 3 questions to all the students that we have here in the district, including 4th grade behind me, all the way up through 12th. And each group, we have put together a little video to share with you what stories mean to our strings players here. So before we get playing, I introduce to you the 4th grade group.
Stories are important because they can make people laugh and have a good time with friends and family. Stories are important to me because some tell lots of good facts and make my imagination go to the next level. Stories are important to me because you learn something new every time you read one. To me, stories mean adventure. I say this because of almost every story you notice that characters will go on some sort of adventure. Also, we get something to look up and go on an adventure in your mind. Stories are special to me because they teach to always believe in myself. I like comedy and stories that are funny and inspiring to watch. My favorite story is kind of the worst, so you can make up with your parents. Action comics is my favorite because action always keeps you interested in the attention. It comedy always gives you a good feeling. My favorite story is action because it tells me things that I don't know, and then it also educates you to become better at knowledge. My favorite story is my favorite story is sports because I play a lot of sports and I love sports.
Music can tell a story by playing when something really emotional happens, like when a tragic event, there's sad music, or when there's a scary or mysterious event, there's always that weird little uncle thing that goes, no.
You can tell a person's story or exciting part of the story. Music can help tell a story by expressing how a character might feel. For example, the character story is scary ways that music can play to tell someone really scared. Music can tell a story. Music can make a song, a story, and make it more interesting.
close with our final number here, I wanted to give a little backstory to this. In the program, you'll notice this song that we are playing last. It's called Sunrise and Sunset. The fourth graders this year, we did a composition unit. We talked a little bit about, again, writing a theme or writing a melody about a character from a favorite story. And as we went through the couple of weeks and learned all the little tricks and trade, we finally came to the idea of picking a character and writing a theme or writing a melody about that character. Now, I took all of the fourth graders that I had, numbers and numbers. I was buried in papers, and I listened and I played all the examples, and I picked some of my favorites, and then I gave these out to some of my most trusted music colleagues, and I said, I want you to listen to these. I want you to pick one that you think is the most musical. And the one that you are about to hear was composed by our very own Miss Melanie Delgado. Melanie, may you come on up to compose to do your piece here. Let's give a nice round of applause to Miss Melanie.
See, they're still moving around. Tell them to comments, kids. These little man titties.
What's the monomer of carbohydrates?
Monomer? I don't remember these things.
Carbohydrates. It's the one I can't remember. Okay, we're gonna go with a scribble. Okay, that works. Proteins.
I think they're waiting for you.
Why would they be waiting for me? The guy's not in the front. Are we ready, pal?
And just like that, they grew a year or two older. Ba-bam. So I feel very, I always think about my position here in the district, and I am so lucky because I am probably, and I have never talked to another teacher that has this opportunity, but I get to see the same kids year to year to year to year. Working with a lot of these folks here, I met you guys last year when you were fourth graders and fifth graders. And it's just such a privilege to continue working with you guys. And you put such effort in. And again, let's give another round of applause for the fourth grade. It was such a wonderful job. Sounded amazing. So our fifth and sixth grade group here, again, if you've looked at the program, this is where we start to really dive into this idea of the connection between music and stories. Our first piece is called Our Heroes. This is something that, if you have a hero who's alive today, a grandparent, parent, anybody in your life, and you have a fictional hero, somebody from a story or a movie that you follow and you love, this is the song dedicated to them.
Don't wait to move it. No.
I love standing up here so much, and sometimes it gets me ahead of the game. Before we move on to our next song, just like we did with the fourth grade, we have put a very special video together that demonstrates what stories mean to this wonderful group of students behind me. So without further ado, let's find out a little bit more about our 5th and 6th grade.
Stories mean the world to me. I believe that stories can be an escape for someone's reality. You can get sucked into a good book and somehow transform into one of the characters. Stories are important to me because they're inspiring. Stories can inspire you to do something great for the world.
Stories mean a lot to me because without fantasy and adventure, the world wouldn't be the same.
I like stories because they teach you lessons and they're entertaining.
Stories are important to me because it lets me see another world and another point of view, which for me is very exciting. If the story is good enough, anyone can have it.
Stories are important to me because they teach you lessons. They're fun to read and they're interesting.
My favorite kind of story is non-fiction, adventure, and sports because I want to read stuff that has actually happened. I also like to read about adventures because it gets me excited.
I like stories that involve fantasy and the real world. They make me believe in certain things more than others.
My favorite kind of story are the ones that my grandmother went to tell. Were so funny. She had done some really good things. I also like stories of the animal issues. I like fantasy and action because they show us how awesome and amazing things many people, including people, experience.
My favorite kind of story is mystery. I love suspense as just a story. I always try to figure out what happens in the ending by guessing.
Music can help tell a story by making it intense. There's background music. You can usually tell when something is coming.
Music adds a lot to a story. In horror, it can add the element of suspense. In adventure, it can add more excitement, and in a sad story, it can make something more dramatic.
Music makes a story more real. It adds wonder and excitement and fear. Without music, movies would be so boring. Music makes stories exciting.
Music can make a story dramatic, like in Nightmare Before Christmas, my favorite story. The music tells the whole story. You can listen to the music and it will connect with you more than words can. It can make a story funny, meaningful, and perfect.
So for our final little selection here, this one is called To Catch a Pickpocket. This is an original composition, something that I really like because as you listen to it, you're going to hear the melody performed throughout the sections, and what it's doing is it's alluding to two different characters, one a pickpocket and another an inspector trying to capture the pickpocket. So as you listen, try to see if you can notice how the two melodies blend together and at times how they're separated and somewhat split as the inspector tries to catch the shifty pickpocket.
Emma probably told him to stay downstairs.
And he couldn't. It's mad. Tired.
What is he gonna do?
The fact that I'm drunk back.
Oh my god, he needs to
He couldn't stay after. What's the big deal?
TJ had to back to me.
That's the whole letter he sent me. The letter, or the ticket. You can't go.
Before we begin, can we please give another warm round of applause for 5th and 6th grade? Way to go! Woo! So this year, for those of you who maybe did not know, the group that we have here, this is a combined group of 7th through 12th grade. This is the second year in a row that this has been implemented, and as of next year, it has just been announced that middle school and high school will have their own personal orchestras, which I am very excited for. So you guys are excited too, I hope. Before we begin, just like we've done with 5th and 6th, just like we've done with 4th, we have a very special video to show you that talks a little bit about how stories and what they mean to these guys here. So without further ado, let's learn a little more about middle and high school.
Books calm me in a way and build character. They add a new perspective and color into my life, and books have changed me in many ways.
To me, stories are a way of conveying a certain lesson or moral about life, but stories are also a way of entertainment. Any movie, book, or video game has a story, which makes that form of entertainment enjoyable.
Stories are a way to express anything. People write stories to show imagination, and it helps them develop something that is important. Stories help shape who I am as a person, allow me to look up to people who are some heroes, and learn about the emotions that people must experience. Stories also taught me how to work on something that I wanted to never give up on.
Stories build a lot of my character are me a person. They help me have an idea of how I should reach the same goals of success. Hard work.
My favorite story has to do with these are my favorite stories. I like the idea of maybe having
My favorite story is that I can complete story or capture character in the world. For me personally, these can be anything or feel good book, or like.
My favorite kind of stories are science fiction, romance, and action. I like them because they're very exciting in many ways. They can describe characters that I have never seen before, that can now be a reality in my imagination.
My favorite kinds of stories are fantasy, with things, for example, magic. I like them because those are the things that you can become the most creative.
Music, when used correctly, is the most useful tool in developing a story. In fact, our orchestra class has looked at one of the most effective uses of music in developing a story. Movies, specifically Star Wars, The Force Awakens, or even Star Wars in general.
When words or imagery fail to express the emotion that is emitted from a story, music creates a certain depth that allows emotions to be expressed.
Music can help tell a story in many different ways. In Jaws, when the shark is coming, the strings violently progress the different notes and dynamics to show how dangerous and scary the shark is. Just think, if they didn't add that music, it wouldn't be as dramatic and epic.
Powerful music shapes universes. For example, Tolkien universe has now come synonymous with the peaceful theme of the Shire, the horns and fiddles of the hero. Without the music, movies seem flat or lifeless.
Stories are impactful on their own, just like music is. When tied together, however, they make a perfect pair. Music can further develop the story's mood and setting.
How many, show of hands, how many people have heard that one before? Spring, yeah. It's a fan favorite. So our next piece here, this is, again, it's an original piece by a composer you may not have heard of, but I chose this because, again, Prelude to an Old Tale, it really alludes to the idea of, you know, sitting down on grandfather's lap, having them tell you a story, and it has almost a very Disney-esque vibe, like I picture like a Disney montage kind of as it's going. So without further ado, Prelude to an Old Tale. This next one that we are about to perform, I'm very excited. This is something A little hobby of mine is actually writing some string arrangements of songs and by bands that I enjoy, bands I've seen and like. And Coldplay is one of my favorite bands, and I thought it would be really cool to arrange a version of the song. And halfway through our concert season, you guys probably remember this, we were playing this other song, and every time we play it, this swell of sadness would come over the room. Everybody would be like, oh. But I said, you know what? Let's pull it. And I gave them this out of just curiosity. And right off the bat, we heard a big change. There was such a big difference. So, Viva La Vida, this is a version that I arranged myself. I will actually be playing on the drums for this with the orchestra, and I hope you enjoy. So before our final piece here, I wanted to, I always am looking to recognize students of mine because I have middle school, high school, 4th, 5th, 6th. There's so many angles that I work with, throughout my day. And I always look for students to recognize. And this is something I didn't do last year, and I'm kind of bummed that I didn't. So this year, I have 3 awards that I would like to give out, one to a middle schooler and one to a high schooler for each. So when I call your name, please come up and accept your award. They didn't know this was happening, so they're like, oh my God, this is happening. So the first award, and this is something, it's kind of funny. When I was in high school, I played cello, and I would come in every day, and I would just do my work, never said anything bad about it. And the concert, our final concert, my teacher said, Mr. Trosian, for the Unsung Hero Award. And I went, oh. I stood up, and I was like, oh, me? Really? This is amazing. Thank you so much. I didn't give a speech or anything, but I wish I did. So this is me making up for that. So the first award is the Unsung Hero Award. This goes to 2 students who they come in every day, they do their work, they leave no bad, no nothing. They're super good, and they deserve it. Their work goes unnoticed, and it shouldn't. So the following 2 people, Miss Hannah Paradas and Andrew Bennett. All right. The following 2, the award that I'm giving out here, this one's called the Leadership Award, and this one goes to students that, without being told or out being asked, they take the next step, they go above and beyond in as many roles as they can find. Whether that's in our group here, in quartets, that we do on the side, anything. So the middle schooler and high schooler for the Leadership Award are Miss Rose Seeley and Mr. Owen Drescher. All right, and I feel like I'm at the Oscars here, giving out awards. All right, so the final award here that I would like to give out to a middle school and high schooler. This is a recognition of excellence award, which it's to 2 students who academically have achieved above and beyond all expectations throughout the year. I mean, A's, A pluses across the board, again, are there every day, work hard, do what they need to, and they're just a great role model to these guys up here as well as those of you sitting down here who are future orchestra students. So, without further ado, Miss Mia Emmy, who I believe is not here tonight, and Miss Malia Bolden. On behalf of Mia Emmy, I will accept this award. Thank you. And one final one, and this is something I actually didn't have to give out last year because we didn't have any seniors, but we have one senior who is going to be leaving us at the end of this year. She recently just got back from a crazy day to Six Flags, so she is in her Six Flags attire. Please welcome Miss Mary Hughes. All right, and we just have a little setup for our final piece. We're going to be welcoming some band and percussion students to join us for Harry Potter, so please give us one moment. All right, so for our final piece here, and again, thank you all for being here. You know, I know it's hot, and I know we're all probably sweating. You can probably see the sweat. I wanted to, thank you all for being here. I have a couple thank yous to hand out afterwards, but I mean, you guys make this run. You know, you guys are the ones who bring the kids here. You're the ones that stay for the show. And as a student who went through orchestra, you know, I thank my parents as much as I can for it because it was the greatest thing that they ever did for me, schlepping me around with my cello. So thank you. Can we give the parents a round of applause, everybody? Thank you. So for our final piece here, we do have a couple extra people with us, and you know, we spent a little bit of time, and we have percussionists on this side, some bands folks on this side, and I want to thank you guys personally for being here. Again, your hard work helps make our work sound even better. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Before we go, just a couple instructions for 5th and 6th 4th grade. You guys bring your stuff where you have it back to the room that you were in. Mom and Dad, you can go find the space that they were when they got here. I just want to thank a couple people that helped make this happen. You know, it's a huge undertaking, and I could never do it alone. Just going to name them quick. Mr. Seymour, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Thornton, Mr. Kowalski, Mr. Carlson, Miss Nato, Dr. Mulqueen, Miss Kelly for your guidance and your leadership. Mr. Schumacher, Mrs. Guerrero, Miss McLennan, Miss McGowan, Mr. Bixby, Mr. Bartholomew, Miss Lees for your support, your collaboration and artistry. The boosters for your support and your enthusiasm. The custodians for helping keep everything nice and neat and making our school run. Tech crew for your wonderful job on lights and the videos. And the parents and guardians of our wonderful students for supporting their love and passion for music. Thank you. Have a good evening.